So, hello and welcome. You're listening to Functional Wellness with Dr. Alison, and today we have a very special guest who is Noelle. So, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, Alison, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So, Noelle is a certified sound therapist and owner of the Sound Spa. Her own struggles with physical and mental health disorders led her to find healing within a regular sound therapy practice, and she has made it her mission to help others by making sound therapy affordable and accessible to all. So, you might be wondering what sound therapy is and how it works and what do you do. So, I'm going to have Noelle tell us all about what that looks like.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to dive in. It's so complex, but yet so simple all at the same time. And I just love, yeah, speaking about sound and how sound impacts our bodies.
So tell us what your basic experience looks like when someone comes in to your practice. What do you do? What does sound therapy mean? What does that all look
So
like?
sound therapy is basically any kind of therapeutic use of sounds, right? In the general sense. So there's ultimately, and it's kind of like music therapy, but music therapy is going to use more like harmonics and like more, you know, more music, whereas sounds are not based in any kind of structure or rhythm that basic music is. And in my particular case, I practice what is called a sound immersion. So you are immersed in the vibrations of sound, and some people also call it a sound bath. That is like more of the, I don't know how you would say it, like the pop culture word for it, right? But I got a lot of people who were asking me about like swimsuits. And so I ultimately decided that sound bath did not fully describe the experience. So what I do is called a sound immersion. And in a sound immersion, you come into my studio and you are going to basically take the best nap of your life, is what I tell people. You're going to lay down, and in my studio, we have super comfy cots and blankets and pillows and bolsters and really eye masks. Like we might like to make it a full experience of relaxation and comfort. And we do a little bit of breathing, a little bit of like stretching and just kind of like getting into the body, and kind of stilling the body and the mind. And we do a little bit of stretching so we can be comfortable. And then a little guided meditation, kind of talking through, just calming down and like calming down our nervous system. And then the sounds start. And it's about 45 minutes total of sound. Um, the sounds we play using gongs, we use crystal bowls, we use a lot of different instruments that are based on really like ancient technologies and modern technologies. And those vibrations have a really healing impact on the body. The frequencies that we use, the timbres that we use are really encoding in the cells, and they're really beneficial for the nervous system. And so you lay down for about 45 minutes and then you wake up, feeling a lot of different variety of ways, but that's basically the basics. Some people practice like a sound immersion on yoga mats. So you may go into a room and, the practitioner, just everyone's on a yoga mat and laying down. There's a lot of different ways that you can practice sound immersions.
Awesome. My first sound immersion was all singing bowls, like I
Yeah.
told you, and I really loved that. And then when I was able to come to your studio, it was so different. Now, first of all, very comfortable. Yes, you keep all your clothes on and you get under comfy blankets and you're nice and warm. You don't have to worry about a thing. Everything's so comfortable and it's such a beautiful setup. And you don't even notice anybody else is there because you're just hanging out in your own world, relaxing. And that's a wonderful part of it too. And you used so many different instruments too, especially like the gongs, and you can feel the vibration as you're just laying there. And it was so relaxing. So I really loved it.
Yeah, the gongs are, they're my babies. So the gongs are my favorite part. If I had it my way, I would probably have like a whole wall of gongs. because I just love their vibration, right? The gongs are just so I don't know if vibratory is a word, but I'm gonna use it. Because their vibrations are just so powerful. And like you said, you can literally feel it, right? Whereas with like the singing bowls or the Himalayan bowls, they're very lovely and you can feel it in your brain. You can really feel that brain massage when you're listening to the bowls, but you can't always feel it in your body.
Right.
And
Right.
I just really, I like being still isn't easy for me. It did not come naturally for me. So using the vibration that I can feel in my body really helped me to like find stillness. I was always a go, 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 stress, 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 stress kind of person. Up until, a couple of years, like a year or two ago. So it really, I needed the gongs to like, at least for me, to be still.
Yeah. And there's energetics that are different with each instrument too, that you're going to feel in different places and work on different levels as well. So with that, tell us more about how you address health for people with your practice, like the benefits and some stories that you've seen of how people's lives have changed.
Yeah. So my focus and there's so much with sound. So I kind of flip flop where I focus a lot. Because there's the power in the stillness, right? There's the power in just taking the break and relaxing. There's so much. So what I focus on for the most part is really just regulating the nervous system. So we're so often in that fight or flight, uh, response system, right? Our autonomic nervous systems are just going haywire. And that's a lot. Like I tell people, like if you're struggling to sleep, if you're struggling to concentrate, if you're struggling to focus, if you're finding yourself triggered by your kids, by your husband, like if you're finding yourself having those like, moments, right? Where you're just tensing up, that is your nervous system and that is an overactive nervous system. And so what we focus on is using sound to help regulate the nervous system and bring it back to homeostasis. Like this morning, for example, I was thinking about, how we're animals, right? Like our DNA is like animals. Like we're like 99.9% like all other animals in the world. And there is no other animal that all of its waking hours are go, 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 go,
Right.
right? There's
Right.
not. Like I mean, the jaguars, like lions, deer, like any animal you look at, they spend time laying down, being still, and they're awake and they're fully alert, you know? And humans, somehow we have decided that we need to go, 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 go. And not only are our bodies going, going, but our brains are going even faster, right? And that's not how our DNA and our bodies work. Like our bodies are not meant for that, right? Our modern lifestyle has totally taken a toll, and we see that everywhere. We see people who are dealing with chronic disorders, with mental health disorders, right? We're seeing all of those symptoms and those diagnoses. And what I've found through my own health journey and just through the research, is that a lot of that comes back to regulating the nervous system and the stress response system in the body. And so we use sound, because our cells and our nerves are actually programmed to be responsive to sounds and noise and sense. So like that's how aromatherapy works, right?
Right.
It's the same parts of your cells, um, and a few other, you know what I mean? It's a little different. It's not the exact same, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's like you put in, aromatherapy, your cells respond in a certain way. It's the same thing with sound vibration. The
Right.
problem is that the sounds we're surrounded by in our modern lifestyle are not good for our nervous system, like air conditioning, alarm clocks, traffic, horns, dogs barking, kids crying. Like we're surrounded
Absolutely.
yeah, we're
Right.
surrounded by these awful, sounds that make our body cringe more and more. And so by taking that time to remove yourself from the stressful situations and then inputting all of this positive vibration and these positive frequencies, you really do bring that nervous system back to homeostasis, right? That's really what we want. So in my studio, I have seen incredible stories. I mean, not only like my own, where I got off all medications. So I had fibromyalgia, autoimmune disorder, um, ADHD since, I mean, I've been medicated for ADHD since God knows how long, since I was a child. And I'm no longer taking any medication.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and I can focus better than I've ever been able to focus in my life. I was heavily medicated on Adderall and Wellbutrin and still struggle to focus. And yet now I have no medications and I can focus just fine. It's incredible. And then we have, people who we have the whole extreme in our studio. So we have people who are doing pretty well and they just want to feel better, maybe up level, see like unlock their creativity and kind of they're really just trying to like be their best selves. And then we have people who are going through cancer or who are struggling with lupus or some really serious like disorders. And we're really helping them to not only deal with the stress of their diagnosis and of their medical tests that they're having to go through in their treatments, right? But they're really seeing an improvement in their not only like their mental health, right? They're feeling more content, they're feeling more positive, but they're also feeling less pain. And that's huge because those pain receptors, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's huge. We have, women who and men both who, they come see us once a week, twice a week, sometimes even 3 times a week, dealing with depression, anxiety, struggling to focus, struggling with trauma, with grief. We see a whole pendulum. Like, Alison, when I got into this business, I thought I was helping like stressed people. Like that was my jam. Like that was where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Cause I was a super stressed person and I see stressed people, but what I've like the range of people who I actually help is just continues to amaze me. And
That's
like,
so wonderful.
I'm just astounded because I'm like, wow, like this is incredible.
There's so much in the world of psychoneuroimmunology where our brain and our thoughts and emotions affect our nervous system and affect our immune system, and how the whole circle keeps on going with our immune system affecting our nervous system, affecting our mental health as well. And now they're adding endo into it because they're like, oh, hormones are affected too. It's almost like the whole body is connected within our nervous system, our thoughts, our mental wellness, things I feel like we know that are just
like,
becoming researched.
Our body's connected.
I know, crazy.
What? There's like, you mean you can't just fix the head and look at only the head? You have to like notice that it's connected.
Absolutely. Or just the immune system. Like the immune system might be affected by our environment or our stress.
What?
I know. Groundbreaking information. But that's how, like, we've always known this, but along the line we forgot these techniques. And it's interesting, just like you in my functional medicine practice, it was like all gut and then all hormones. And now it's like all nervous system, because we have to heal our nervous system to heal the rest of our body. And it's so foundational. And that people are like, but I have POTS, my heart is palpitating, or I just have IBS. Why are you telling me to do these breathing exercises? Like, well, we have to get the body synced together. And that's basically what you do, is connecting all those systems of our body into one and allowing the body to relax and heal and recuperate with your sound immersion. And how amazing is that? So simple.
Like, it's so simple. It's so great. That's what I'm saying. It's so complex because like I'm such a nerd and I love to learn and I love to read more. So I'm always getting into like So right now I'm really getting into like the science of just like how do we hear and the hearing brain and like how does our body, and I mean it's so complex. Like if you really think about it from like a just a standpoint of we hear, so many sounds all the time. Like, but they come into our ear and somehow in our brain they're processed into meaning, and then we're able to like respond to it, right? Like, yeah, just that the whole body connection to our hearing lives, and it's so interesting. And yeah, like whenever you start learning about the body, like everything's connected. Everything's connected, and it's a miracle on itself. Like it's so complex, but yet we're still pretty simple. There's like when you go back to the basics, right? So
Right.
many problems can be solved by just going back to how our bodies are meant to are meant to be.
Absolutely. So I'm curious at your thoughts on this because when I sit and meditate and I notice like we're never without sound in our current life. It's either like the air conditioning's running, the dog is barking, there's cars driving by. Like there's always this level of noise that's being input into our body and our nervous system.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about that? Or how does that affect us? Or how does sound therapy play into that?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting question, and really there is no way to be devoid of sound, period. Like it is our strongest sense. I'm pretty sure it's the first sense that develops in utero, right? Even if you put yourself in a completely soundproof room, right? Then all of a sudden you become more aware of your internal sounds. So the thing is that we always think of sound as the external sounds, but then we
Right.
also have this whole symphony of life happening inside of us. Like there's sounds happening and we can hear it, like not all of them, right? But you can hear, but sometimes like our gut gets loud and we hear that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Our heart sometimes gets loud and we hear that, right?
Mm.
And it becomes our conscious awareness, but like subconsciously, we're still processing all of these sounds as well. So,
Right.
yeah, and then your thoughts, right? Your thoughts have they almost feel like a sound because sound it doesn't exist unless we give it meaning, right? Sound doesn't exist unless it hits our brain. So just our thoughts alone are symbol like are just as much as sound. So yeah, you're really never going to find a way to get away from sound. The thing is that the sounds inside of our bodies and the sounds inside of our mind, I'm gonna say this with a grain of salt, um, don't hurt us, right?
Right.
They don't
Right.
cause harm to us. Now, granted, we know that certain thought patterns and certain things can cause cortisol releases and patterns that do hurt, like, but for the most part,
Right.
not like the sound of the air conditioning does, right? If you're in a very loud room, and you're trying to listen to a presentation and you can hear that air conditioning in the background really loud, you're trying to hear over the air conditioning, just think about the next time this happens to you, you'll think about it, how exhausting that felt, right? Like when the person's done talking, there will be a sigh of relief because just from your body, because it's like that was a lot of work, right? Like I'm trying to overcome this sound here in order to focus on this sound here, but it's not even just the overcoming. It's that air conditioning is pumping out at a frequency that's not really good for our bodies.
Right.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but like air conditioning, electricity, like there's certain frequencies that are pretty common in our homes, um, that are really low frequencies, and they do cause like more anxiety in our bodies.
Yeah, so having like multiple TVs on and
Yeah.
YouTube and the kids playing games or, like we're inundated with sound. And that's why I love your practice because it's so intentional
Yeah.
in what you're listening to and the focus within. And you're
Well,
not
and
over.
yeah, and then you really help people to become more aware of just their sound environments, right? Like right now, my son's home from daycare, like I had told you before,
Yeah.
and he's watching a TV show or he's watching a movie because I'm a great mom and that's what I do. I use the electronic babysitter. And so, I can hear that. I have an open concept house, and so I can hear that. And so it really has it's a little bit more testy on my nervous system, right?
Right.
We got but when we became more aware of how sounds were affecting us, we changed things around our house. Like we got headphones for the kids. So we changed TVs and we haven't figured out how to like get it consistently again, but it was like a game changer when we just you can get like Bluetooth headphones or corded in headphones and get like an
Right.
extension cord, and having the kids always wearing headphones when they were watching TV, game changer. Um,
Perfect.
we don't talk over music anymore.
Mm,
Like, so if my husband and I are trying to talk like this morning, he came in, I'm listening to my music, I listen to positive music, obviously, like I'm getting ready
right.
and I'm like doing my little thing, and he comes in and so we start talking and I immediately, have to pause because yeah, it's like the moment that we try to talk over it, right? Noticing, I'm trying to think of like just little things that people can do. Um, going outside is really like we obviously talk about the going outside, but if you're going outside next to a highway, it's going to
Right.
be a very different experience for you than if you're
Absolutely.
able to go outside a little bit more remote, right? So if your inside is a little bit too much, take a break and go outside. Or if you can't control all the sounds in your house, just notice when you're starting to get overstimulated and go take a break for 5 or 10 minutes, step away, and then come back before you get triggered. It's like noticing those things that lead
Absolutely.
up to the triggering that are really helpful. And a lot of that comes from sound, and we just don't realize it. Like we think we went off on our kids and lost our patience because we were just having a bad day or we're a bad mom. So many people have so much
Right.
guilt. And it's like, no, like you said, the TV was going, the dogs are barking, the microwave's going off, the oven,
Yeah.
like then your phone's ringing. And it's like, it was nothing to do with you or the kids, nothing to blame yourself. Like that's triggering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can always talk about, it's easy to look at like my 10-year-old son with ADD, and when he gets overstimulated, it's so obvious, but as an adult, it's not as obvious. And a lot of times it looks
Mhm.
like anger or lashing out, and it's really that overstimulation that needs to calm
Exactly.
down.
And
So,
so I found, and I was a teacher for 10 years. So I worked with a lot of parents, I worked with students, and I saw so much of that, right? I've seen parents get more and more overstimulated and more triggered over the years, right? But think about how much more stimulated we are, right?
right.
We are so stimulated all the time and we're expected to be on. Like I know so many people whose phones are on all the time. I'll be honest, my notifications are almost never on. My ringer, never on. Like you're just not going to get a hold of me. Like if there's an emergency, I'm sorry. Like, first of all, call 911, not me. Like,
Right.
I am not the person to call in the case of emergency because I just like that's for my mental health. Like I have to reduce the number of things. So I always have my phone on do not disturb or usually work so that my daughter can get a hold of me. Right. But there's different things we can do. And that helps me tremendously instead of hearing ding, 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 ding all day long.
Exactly. And for anybody thinking that that sounds absolutely crazy, don't worry. I do the same thing on my phone, but I have my special contacts. So if my kid's school calls because there's an emergency, it will
Mm,
go through. If my
yeah.
daughter calls me, it will go through. But all the spam accounts or just basic phone calls, they're on silent. So we're not missing anything
Yeah.
that's like life ending,
That's
but
true.
we're
Kids'
not.
school is also on those, like if I do it in work mode, the
Right.
kids' school still comes in too. So my daughter, who's a
Yeah.
teenager, my husband, and my kids' school, but that's it.
Exactly. And same thing with like my nighttime settings. Like if they're at a sleepover or something, like we'll still
Yeah.
get those phone calls, but limiting so it's not even just distractions that take us off the game with all of those sounds and things like that, but it's also a shock to our nervous system. when you're really focused,
Exactly.
and then that comes in.
Exactly.
It's really hard to deal with. So, well, tell me, who is your favorite client to work with? If you have one, you probably have a long list of like, I love working with everybody, but is there anybody or any issue specifically that you just love to see those changes in people?
I that is hard. I love working with people who want to feel better and are doing anything, even 10 minutes, even just the smallest things, but are starting to take those baby steps to to heal themselves or to feel better or to whatever that is, right? That's who I love working with because that's where I was, however many years ago. And I love seeing that progression. But they're not just complaining about it,
Mm,
right?
right.
They're not just complaining about it and sitting in the yuck. They're not like they're finally like tired of it, right? And I don't say this in any bad way because I think that taking those steps can be really hard. Whenever the all of it has piled on, you have to think we're accumulating years and years and years of nervous system trauma.
Right.
And so when you get into your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and you are overwhelmed and you're just piled on and so much and you have so much stress, I get it. It feels overwhelming and it feels awful and it feels dark and it feels so hard and nothing seems to work. And I get it. And so I have so much compassion for those people, but I love those people who are just taking those small steps or or maybe even a year into it and they're still learning, right? Or 2 years
Right.
or whatever. But the
Right.
ones who are just saying, I don't like where I am today, and tomorrow I want to feel better. Or next year I want to feel better, right? And they're looking at the long game. Like, I want to feel better in 10 years. So I'm doing things now. That's who I love to work with.
I love working with those people too, because I know how scary it is, how intimidating, how frustrating it is to be so sick and then taking a risk on trying something new, talking to someone new,
Mhm.
doing something that's so out of the box, like sound therapy, like a salt bath, like a sauna, like things that people like your everyday person will be like, "You're doing what? Oh, that's never gonna,"
Right.
but they're taking that chance and that risk on themselves to really just try anything and everything, and they're not giving up because there's
Mhm.
always hope out there. There's always something that's going to help. And you don't know what it is till you try it. You don't know how you're going to feel with your work and sound immersion until you get your butt in there
Right.
at least a few times and really give it a go and let your body take that risk and that chance to feel better. And you're going to. And maybe just like with supplements, just like with the gym, it's not going to be perfect the first time. You're not going to be healed. You have to keep going. You have to keep taking care of yourself. And that's why you have your membership for people to
Mhm.
take advantage of that and make the most out of their work with you, which is just so cool. So
Yeah.
tell us, for local people, how can they find you? Um, you have Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram. Where do you live
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
network?
I don't know. We're still finding our place. We live all over now. So we have the website. So thesoundspa.com is where you can find everything on the website. Facebook, it's the Sound Spa. And then Instagram, it is the Sound Spa underscore STL. And those are like the main parts. You can find me personally on TikTok, but that's just me being me.
Love it.
as
Yes.
S yeah, as STL Noel. You can find that. But we're also in the process of working on an app and working on having those guided meditations and having those recorded sounds for people who can't make it into the studio. So if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, then when that becomes available and we have the memberships to the app available, then you can also get the benefits of sound on the go.
That's so amazing because my next question was going to be for listeners who aren't
Oh,
local.
yeah.
is there one, now they're going to be able to use your app and be
Yes.
able to get that support that way. Is there anything that I don't even know what to say, like a search term? How do you would you recommend finding someone who does sound therapy if they live outside of St. Louis, Missouri?
Yeah. So if you live outside of the area, again, yeah, we're located in St. Peters. So absolutely. And there is no, I will be honest, there is no one that I know of that is doing immersions on a schedule like I'm doing. Okay. So this was
Right,
very
right,
much, this was like my husband and I, we had a need and like we weren't able to fulfill it. So we created what we needed and what we wished we had. Right. So our membership model where you get 60, unlimited sound sessions for an entire month for $65 a month, like that doesn't like people, there's nowhere else that's using that model yet. Um, but if you are looking for somebody who may, have the sound therapy and a sound bath, you could always look up sound bath near me or like sound bath in your city, right? So sound bath is going to be the word that you're going to want to search term because you could also search term sound therapy or sound immersion. You're likely to find maybe in like some yoga studios. You can always ask like a yoga studio. Sometimes yoga studios will host like sound events. Um, or even some yoga studios do like a little bit of sound at the end of the yoga class, like in a shavasana type of situation. Um, I've even seen though like art at the art foundry like in St. Louis,
right.
like they're doing a sound bath there. There's like churches, so it really is like becoming a thing. You can try to look on Google or Eventbrite, right? Or Meetup, is that the name of the
I,
app? Meetup.
I think so. Yeah, those are all great ideas. Thank you.
Yeah.
Or if you live in Ohio or Pennsylvania, just fly in
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
come and
Yeah.
meet Noelle and just stay for a week and get yourself taken care of. But that's
Right. St. Louis is a
perfect.
great place. St. Charles, St. Louis, we're great
Right.
places to visit. So just come on
Absolutely.
out.
I know how hard it is. It's like, what would you even type in to find someone like you? So
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
bath, that's a great idea. Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and knowledge and practice. I so appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was fun. I always appreciate talking with you.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. And to everybody listening in, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our weekly podcasts, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Functional Wellness with Dr. Alison. If you would like personalized care and testing, you can schedule an initial consult online and get started with your wellness plan right away, or message us on Facebook at Little Black Bag Medicine. Thanks for tuning in and see you next week.